Welcome to Sideline Vibes, the Minnesota sports show changing the narrative of Minnesota sports fandom. I'm your host, Derek Long. Today, we are doing a little crossover episode because it's a big week in the movie sphere. Is that what they call it?
It can be, I guess. I think that works. The movie sphere, yeah.
It's like the Marvel Cinematic Universe they're
Yeah.
colliding. The sports universe and the movie universe is colliding this week on Sideline Vibes, and we're gonna do a little bit of a a matching game. Where we're going to look at the Best Picture nominees and match them with the vibes of the current state of our Minnesota professional sports teams. And I have the lovely Nick from Popcorn Bucket List on today. Hi.
How's it going? I don't know if I've ever been introduced as lovely before. I'm not sure how to take that or not, but we'll consider it a compliment until I overthink it later. But yeah, good to be on here today. Like you said, big week here.
Lovely is definitely an endearing term in this sense. If you have not checked out Popcorn Bucket List before, I'm linking them down below. Please check them out for all things movies. I literally watch your show. I'm I would say a movie connoisseur, but if you are like someone who is into like a podcast or some type of people, you don't have the time in the day to always go and watch every single movie. These guys pretty much try their best to watch every single movie, or at least know about every single movie. And
We attempt to. We
yeah,
definitely
yeah.
attempt to.
So I needed to bring on an expert for this because it's Oscars week and it's a fun time of the year. So, yeah, thank you for coming on. There's my little plug, but obviously I'll let you. You have something cooking this weekend, and I want you to let the viewers know the end of this, if that's okay.
Yeah, sure. Sounds good. Thanks for having me on.
All right, and of course we have State of the State at the end. This video is sponsored by Sasquatch Media. Sasquatch Media is the premier video production company in the Midwest for documentary and commercial production. Sasquatch Media is an Emmy award-winning production company. From commercial to branded content and TV series, they specialize in cinema quality production. They handle all aspects of the production process. A couple years ago, Sasquatch produced a hockey documentary titled Dream State. From a national airing on the NHL Network to winning Best Topical Documentary, Best Director, and Best Editor at the 2024 Midwest Emmys, to many film festival appearances across the world, Dream State was warmly welcomed back to the spotlight. A Minnesota Wild production and presented by Tria, Dream State followed the legendary program of the Warroad Warriors. After losing the state championship game in 2023 in double overtime, Warroad came back to the 23-24 season seeking redemption. You get to see behind the scenes looks at what it makes Warroad one of, if not the greatest hockey town ever. This was produced, shot, and edited by Sasquatch. You want a group that is hardworking and extremely passionate about what they do to share your story with others. Sasquatch Media should be your first option. Check out Sasquatch Media at sasquatch.media. SSQTCH Media. So let's get to it here. Again, this is the Oscars. Can we make this an annual thing? I feel like this is.
I was thinking about this earlier. I was gonna like introduce it as our second annual Oscars, but I didn't want to jinx us because it is only our second go around of doing this live watch party.
Sure.
I would love to keep doing it, obviously, but you just never know what's gonna happen. So I almost wanted to call it
Yeah.
annual, but I didn't want to jinx it. So we'll just call it the second edition.
Second edition. There we go.
Second edition. Hopefully a third.
Yeah. I think you should. Does anyone do a live watch breakdown like you guys do?
I actually did kind of get the idea from there was like a movie reviewer on YouTube who also like worked with like this other YouTube channel that I watched a lot too, and they did like a live Oscars watch party. That's kind of what started it. What I think is kind of nice is because me and Ryan, my co-host, we do an Oscars challenge. We've been doing that for years, and that was kind of the added element of like, hey, you can watch us watch the Oscars, but there was also this competition element to it as well. So I don't know if anyone else does that exactly, but yeah, I'm sure there's other people who kind of do it. But we have now opened it up so other people can compete in it too. You can try and pick and choose and be part of it. So I like to think there's a little bit more audience interaction with it as well.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I had a lot of fun at that, and I got a notification today about it, and I definitely need to fill out my picks again. So,
yep, yeah.
um, we're gonna go through one by one. You're I don't I guess I don't know the order in which you are presenting the movies, but I'm going to match. There might be some tweaking throughout, or does it have to be a set in stone as soon as I decide? Is it a blind ranking, or is it kind of like a we
Ooh,
work together to try to like we can move them around as we go?
that's a good point actually, because yeah, there's some of these that a lot of people aren't going to be as familiar with. I just have them listed in alphabetical order.
That's
So,
fair.
well, in that case, the first one I believe in alphabetical order was Bugonia.
Oh, I did see this one.
This one, yeah, this is the one with two conspiracy theorists who kidnap a high-profile CEO because they think he's an alien intent on killing the world, and typically bees. Like they think that they're like killing all the bees and everything like that. Crazy. It's Emma Stone teaming up with Yorgos Lanthimos. I think it's like their third year in a row that they've like done a big movie or project together or anything like that. So, yeah, that's kind of the gist of it, really here. But
So
yeah,
I'm just gonna say it is a weird movie. Now I did a little bit of notes on especially the movies that I saw. So I don't know if this is cheating or not, but I felt like this movie it was the most out of like the ones that I saw, very weird. Um, like a cool. I like the shots were very cool. It was kind of like a um outside the box thinking a little bit, like especially with the storyline too.
yeah.
Very unpredictable and might surprise you. Definitely might surprise you, or completely leave you confused and not really understanding what the heck you just watched. That was my experience with Begonia.
Yeah.
This seems like the most perfect Minnesota Twins match pairing,
Okay.
where
Okay.
I think a lot of people don't know the direction in which this team is going and what exactly like the movie plot, like what direction are we going in. The concept makes sense. They seem like they're it seems like the two who are involved in this capturing of Emma Stone's character, I don't remember her name, um they eh, they seem very like confident in what they're doing, but when you're watching them you're like these guys don't have a clue what they're like what are they doing, like this is like just maddening. And so that seems like the most Twins vibe. I don't know. What do you think?
I definitely do hear what you see about the couple other main characters like having a plan and just completely being off the rails. I will give you that. I don't necessarily associate with this with Twins with the same argument, because you look at kind of the behind the scenes thing sort of being management. Like I said, this is like the third or fourth time Emma Stone and this director's worked together, and
Oh,
it's usually worked pretty good for the most part. In fact, they even like worked together on one of the Super Bowl trailers this past year. You may have seen it was like the black and white one with Emma Stone where she's like throwing laptops in or whatever. Like same director. Like these two love working with each other. Whereas
mm,
I don't I feel like if you asked any twins, they probably don't like working together with their
no.
management in this case here. I could tell you, I put it, I kind of took my definitions a little bit more literally, I think. I connected it with the Lynx because of girl power.
That
You
is
have
great.
strong female sort of representation here. Minnesota Lynx women's basketball, from what I understand, has been doing pretty good.
Yeah,
So but is also kind of like under the radar. Like I feel like not as many people have talked about this one at the same time. So that's where I kind of put it to.
I love this. I actually would agree with you. I think I'm going to switch my thing to the Lynx. I've been thinking about this all day. I'm like, oh, this isn't obvious to the Twins, but like, I was thinking more of the plot too, and then, like we're more focused on this whole project is more focused on kind of like, well, what could they win Best Picture? Like, where are they kind of in the Best Picture Oscars uh, power ranking, I guess you could say. And so how you described this perfectly. I guess I didn't know this is why we're doing this because you're the expert in this. Um,
Well, and honestly, I think thinking it from plot wise, like that's your argument, I think still works too, because you put it perfectly. Like the two guys who are in this, like they have this plan and it is insane, and you hate these people for how they're kind of approaching this and everything like that. I think actually does kind of work well for twins as well. I didn't really think of it plot wise.
No,
I think
I
that
went
I think
away
that
from the actual assignment.
you wrote the assignment. Bro, I'm going away from the assignment here.
No, I think you nailed it with what we're, because it kind of, I don't know. We'll come back to that. We'll come back to this one.
Yeah.
Because this is one that I think like could be a couple of them if you think about it. But I do like you said with the elite chemistry, the Emma Stone pairing. I think I remember hearing about that too. And like when I was watching, did you guys talk? You guys talked about this on. No, you haven't talked about. You just brought it, previewed it. When you
Yeah,
do the
yeah. I don't think either of us reviewed it on the show, but yeah, when it came out, we previewed it on there, and yeah, like it's the same person she worked with when Poor Things came out a couple years ago, and that was a huge like Oscar. I think that one actually won quite a few that year as well. So, and I'm sure they're going to keep working together and everything. So, at least I hope they do because I really like a lot of their stuff. So,
and honestly, Cheryl Reeve, and like Nafisa Collier, that's kind of like the same dynamic.
yeah.
Been working together for a little while. I like this. I like this. I think I'm gonna lock in the Lynx there. I didn't think that was gonna be the case, but I'm guessing, knowing the Oscars, there's gonna be a weirder movie.
That one was one of the more weirder ones, I think, actually.
I mean, like, or maybe a weirder, like, why is this one in this list of 10?
Oh yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
there we go.
No, there's a few more for that. Yeah,
Okay,
for sure.
cool. Give me another one here. God, I love this.
All right. I don't know if this is exactly alphabetical, but it's like the next one roughly to it. F1.
Another one I saw.
This was probably the more popular one. This one's, the classic sports movie. You have the old guy kind of coming in, got to train in the new guy, sort of thing. They're just, they're down on their luck. They got to rebound, all that sort of stuff. But in the world of F1 and everything like that, you had Brad Pitt in it, obviously, Javier Bardem. This was one of the more popular ones out of all of them. So
Okay, so
now I will admit,
yeah.
the one I did link this to is a little bit of a joke answer, but I do actually think works. So I am curious where you put it as well.
So I instantly, when I was making this is actually the first one I thought of. And I instantly thought of the Minnesota Vikings. The reasons why. They are, it's a big spectacle. It was very much, that's like the biggest, I would say, like, spectacle in our state is, I would say, Vikings and then Wild. High budget, very high budget. I think the Vikings had the highest budget out of all the teams that we have in our state, and a lot of star power, but not necessarily going to be like a consensus winner in a lot of different things. Because, I mean, in the movie itself, it was kind of cheesy. It was like a classic cheesy, like, 80s, 90s sports trope type of movie, but it had the star power, and I loved it because I just love those kind of movies. But it had like an incredible, like, cinematic experience with the F1 driving and things like that. So it was flashy, but maybe not. The plot was kind of at the end like, I don't know. The love interest, I'm like, I don't really know what's happening here. It kind of just rides off into the sunset. You're like, really? So that they're never going to be together. That's okay. This whole love story is. You think they're going to end up together and be like, I'm done with this racing life, or however Brad Pitt talked in that movie.
Well, he's not. He's just done with the F1 thing.
Yeah.
He's just going to go on to do
Baja,
next thing out
yeah.
deserts, whatever. I suppose, but yeah, I'm actually right there with you. I did put this one for Vikings football as well, because of all those reasons you just listed, but also because when they were announcing like the Oscar nominees and they got to Best Picture, you get through the list. I feel like if I remember correctly, it might have been one of the last ones that was announced. And I feel like myself, and if you watch the stream, everyone was kind of like, huh, it's interesting how that one snuck in there. That's kind of funny. And then before this, I was kind of looking at some of the records of some of these teams. I totally forgot the Vikings ended up third in our division.
Yeah.
I literally had like this whole like, huh, oh yeah, we did sneak in there a little bit.
Yeah.
So it was kind of the same thing here. Like, oh wow, F1 just snuck in here. I don't know how that happened, but all right, next one we got is Frankenstein. This is the Guillermo del Toro version that starred Oscar Isaac. I mean, yeah, you pretty much know the classic story at this point here. It is like the first science fiction sort of story and everything. Really kicked off that genre. It's a classic. We had another sort of Frankenstein story just this weekend with The Bride, so it's a little bit more popular here right now. But yeah, it's a pretty well known property, I would say. There's really not much I could say story wise because we kind of know the story, but
Yeah. So I guess where I don't know anything about this movie besides the fact that it's Frankenstein, and it's like a newer adaptation of it. Where does it kind of? Have you seen this movie?
no, but Ryan has talked up a storm on this one
Okay,
here,
so this
so I
seems like a
feel like
very
I
much a Ryan movie. Um,
yeah.
so where do you kind of see it in its like ranking in this big picture? Like, is it a middle of the pack? Is it could be a sneaky contender? I was trying to get a read on
So
it.
as far as the best picture, I rank it pretty low because it is a Netflix movie, and to this date, no Netflix movie has won Best Picture, and I don't see that trend changing on this one. Um, Now it did have like a lot of nominations. I think it got hold up, I got another tab here. I think it got like nine or something like that. So it will, yeah, it got nine total nominations. So it will win awards, but it's gonna win all those smaller ones like costume, hair, and makeup. It'll be a contender in those. I do not consider this a big contender for Best Picture.
Hmm. Hmm. Gosh, how much money did they spend on this movie?
Quite a bit. It was a pretty big production.
Okay. Gosh, do we have to go? Ugh. I'm stuck between. I'm stuck between the would be a twins, but they're not spending a lot of money. Probably Loons. That might be where we're at. How did the old how do the old Frankenstein movies films do?
They were always pretty popular. I think there was quite a few that were made, especially back in the day. But I mean, the original book came out in 18, and we're still making movies about it in 2026. So
Hmm,
I don't know if that answers the question or not. But
sure. Who are the main like actors in this one?
this one you had Oscar Isaac. I think he was Victor Frankenstein in this one. Um, it was, and I'm looking up because I don't want to mispronounce the name here, but it was like something Elgory.
Hmm.
Hold up. Okay, Jacob Elordi. I believe
Oh, he's
he
kind of
got
a hot name in
yeah,
this.
he's pretty big right now. I think he got Best Supporting Actor. Mia Goth was in it. Christoph Waltz was in it, but I don't remember him having like a huge role in this one necessarily. So
Ooh, okay, can we put Frankenstein to the side for now?
yeah, sure.
Maybe this is how we're gonna do it. If I can't figure out one that matches.
Next one we have is Hamnet. This one is about essentially like William and Agnes Shakespeare
Hmm.
as they grapple with their grief after they lose their son to the plague. And this, and I don't know if I ever got a straight answer to this, but apparently this kind of also led to the writing of Hamlet, which is the play everyone kind of knows and associates with Shakespeare and everything like that. But the story in the movie itself focuses more on the wife character Agnes in this case, and yeah, it just shows her kind of struggling with it a little bit more and everything like that. So
Okay. Is this like one of those this seems like one of those indie movies that kind of sneaks in there and you're like, what is going on?
yeah, this was a lesser known one, I think, and like yeah, like I said, I'd heard a little bit about it, but I hadn't heard a lot about whether it was good or bad. I did get a chance to see this one. Overall, I think it's pretty good. I think the main performance
Hmm.
in this is probably the biggest selling point and everything like that. But it's a very Oscar-y movie, if
Hmm.
that kind of makes sense here. You've got the old timiness, you've got the dramatic performances. You know, it's set in Old English, so you have the Shakespearean, dialect. It sounds and looks very fancy. So
Sounds and looks very fancy. I'm stuck between a couple teams in these last two. I would just say,
All right.
like, where do you think this has a chance of winning?
I haven't heard enough buzz about it to, I think, make any serious play for Best Picture. I think it's maybe got a chance. I'd have to double check. I think lead actress here got the main actress award. Yes. So I do think she has a good shot at winning this.
Is this a tragic story?
Tragic that ends in sort of a, hey, we're going to get through this sort of thing.
This is,
Like at the end of the day, the son is still dead. So I don't know.
this got to be the twins, right? Very old time. Like
So
we have a good, rich history. I don't know.
yeah,
What do you
yeah,
have? What
that
do you
makes
have for
sense.
them?
I put this for women's hockey.
Oh, okay,
Because
for us.
again, it was more again similar with Begonia. It was kind of like, hey, this is the female-led one here, and there really were only two like female-led Best Picture ones here. So I kind of just immediately put them to those two teams. But it also, like I said, it just kind of looks and sounds very Oscar. You know, you have hockey that looks and sounds Minnesota sports in a weird way.
This is
So,
such a good
but it's the lesser known out of the two, I would say, between Begonia and Amnet, and I think it's pretty safe to say more people probably know about the Lynx than
Yeah.
Minnesota Frost. I'm maybe making an assumption there, but
No, you're right with that.
I'd be willing to put money on that assumption.
No, yeah, both of those would fit perfectly for this too. It's like kind of it seems like a niche movie. But like you said, built or like this movie is built for Oscars, and so the Frost, two-time champs. There's only been 2 seasons of the PWHL, so it's like I don't know. You could
See, and
also,
I'm just learning that. I'm just learning that now. Unfortunately, I gotta follow that more
yeah,
better, I guess.
yeah, you definitely need to for Frost hockey. We're going for the Freezepeat. But could they win it all? That could end up tragic. I just keep going back to that. I would say something. So this movie is written from not looking at the plot, but this movie is made for like it being an Oscar Best Picture nominee. The Frost are made for that. Like when they made the Frost, it's the intention that this team is going to be one of the foundations of this league. So let's just go with Frost here for Hamnet. Again, have not seen this movie, so is this worth? Have you seen this one?
Yeah, I thought it was fine. Like I said, it is very much like kind of what you picture from an Oscars movie, but for me the problem was it just took too long to get to where things started getting good. Like I this makes me sound like a monster, but like seeing them in their grief was kind of the best part of the movie. It just took forever to get to that.
Hmm.
I'm not saying I enjoy seeing people in pain. I'm just saying that's what you're going to do, get there quicker.
Well, here's another good analogy. The Frost kind of the league one kind of thinks the Frost is a little boring because they're really good, but they're very just like they're just like machines, and
Mm.
so that kind of vibe. They're like boring regular season, and all of a sudden the playoffs ends with a bang. So there we go. We're making some connection there. I love
Yeah.
how we're going back between the actual plot of the movie and also the big picture, like Oscar. Uh...
Yeah.
okay, give me another one here. I love this. Is so fun.
This is another probably well-known one here, Marty Supreme.
Mm,
This is the Timothée Chalamet movie where he plays Marty Mauser, someone who goes on to become a professional table tennis player. Now, unfortunately, there is no Minnesota table tennis team. Otherwise, that'd be perfect for this,
that would be.
and it would be an easy pick. But yeah, this is one of the more popular, probably one of the more well-known ones here. And I mean, it seems like every year Timothy Chalamet comes out with a new movie that's going to be an Oscar contender here. So it's one of those you kind of expect as well.
This one is where I have two. I'm stuck between two, between the Wolves and the Wild for this one, and then the one that we haven't talked about yet. That I don't want to spoil anything, but um, I just go with I think I'm gonna go with the wild for this one. I think the reason why too is the 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 hype around the movie is kind of like what we're seeing with like the hype around the wild. It's like kind of like this, like where did this come from? Like how do they get to this point? And like what like the ad campaign behind Mario Supreme, I knew that was kind of a big deal too. And for the wild, I guess they don't not necessarily like that, but like they have like all these like cool things. Like Kaprizov is kind of a cool character. Quinn Hughes is kind of taken off and been notable. Um, yeah, I don't know. Is there any other comparisons you see between the plot or like even just like the picture or the
So
Oscars point of view?
yeah, I actually have this as the Wild as well. I
Okay,
actually did put this with the
there we
Wild as
go.
well. Um, again, all those reasons you kind of listed, but I would also say, again, we almost expect every year for there to be a Timothy Chalamet movie kind of in the running.
Mm,
And you do bring up, yes, the Wild have kind of be coming onto the scene here, I would say more recently, but also like a Minnesota team kind of doing well in hockey. That just sounds right.
mm-hmm.
Me saying there's a Timothy Chalamet movie that is up for Best Picture just sounds right. There's no real surprise there, I feel like. So I don't know. It seems like it kind of fit there for me at least. So
Yeah, and like the comparison with Timothy and um, Kaprizov, kind of young stars, very cool. Um, yeah, that just makes sense. But they're also it's kind of a niche like vibe to the movie. I feel like it's not like one that's like blow the doors off the. It's kind of like it's like an indie movie that's not really an indie movie. You know?
yeah, it's interesting because you compare to last year where you did like the movie where he was the folk artist, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
completely blanking on the name right now,
A
and I
complete.
feel
Oh, is this part of? Is this a bit? A complete
no, I
unknown.
wish it was.
Is it?
Yes, there we go.
So that
It is a
was.
Minnesota too,
I thought
and
you were doing a
I'm
bit.
I'm no,
Because
I
you're
wish I
completely
was.
unknown to your head.
Yeah, yeah, no, I would. That's a bit Ryan would do on the show. By the way, that is
That's
totally something he would do. But like, I couldn't think of the artist or anything there for a second.
The Bob Dylan.
Yeah,
I
Bob
did watch
Dylan
that one
was.
too. Yeah.
I was gonna say like with that one like that one makes sense because it's a bigger name, whereas this one who the heck knows of Marty Mauser,
Yeah.
the table tennis champion or whatever. So here it's like Minnesota Wild making it far makes sense, but at the same time like you haven't really heard of that
Hmm.
recent thing. So
Yeah. No, that's good. That's a good match. All right, give me another one.
all right, we got one battle after another.
Mm.
This is the one where you got Leonardo DiCaprio, Benicio del Toro, Sean Penn in it. A group of ex-revolutionaries regroup after one of the characters' daughter is captured by the person who's been essentially chasing them for years. They did this big revolutionary thing like 16 years ago. They kind of went into hiding. They've been staying out of it. Now they're kind of thrust back into it and everything. So that's the other one that's like he's got like 13 nominations, which any
Mm.
other year would be number one, but there's another one that beat it this year. So
Okay. This might be one of my double ups because I can see this one kind of also being the Vikings for some reason. You have the old kind of like the older cast. Now we have some old cast characters with a combination of some like new and upcoming people. Um, you said a lot of nominees, but
yeah,
do you think it has a chance of winning?
best picture. I think it does have a shot. I guess in my power rankings, quote unquote, I kind of had this as second,
Mm.
and I think it will. I think it'll win more than a few. Well, I guess I'll have to go back see what it's competing against, but I would not be surprised if it gets multiple wins here. I guess.
Have you seen this movie?
No, this is another one that it's so long it's hard to find time to sneak in to get it all. But I've got to like schedule out my week here to catch up on a few of the ones that I'm missing here. But
Sure. Gosh, I go between them and the Loons. The only reason I would say the Loons is because they just signed a legend, a soccer legend, and James Rodriguez, and this kind of seems like a group of not has been actors, but guys a little bit maybe past their prime,
Yeah.
but still exciting film. I did see the previews for this one. I was going to watch it, but I saw the time and I was like, that's long. Maybe like kind of like a soccer game sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
So I can go between them and the Loons. We'll come back to that one though.
Okay.
Vikings
Okay.
or the Loons. We'll pencil that one in. All right. What do
All
you
right.
got?
Next one here. This is probably the bigger one here. Sinners.
Okay.
This is the one that had the record-breaking 16 nominations. Now that is a little bit of a loaded stat because there was like one category that was added this year and it got that. So it would have been 15, which still I believe would have been a record anyway. But 16 total nominations. You have Michael B. Jordan playing a dual role here, and just it's about vampires and music and all that sort of stuff. That's the best way I can really talk about it without spoiling too much about it, I suppose. Really, but
That is the best way to describe it.
yeah, vampires and music.
This is one that I also had a lock for, um, because right now this is the team that is probably the most decorated out of all these teams of late recently, in back-to-back Western Conference Finals. I would say the closest team to winning a title, and I think these guys, the Sinners, is probably the closest that is going to be probably the favorite, um, to winning this award. And so I went with the Minnesota Timberwolves. Also, cool, like the storyline in the movie, it just seems like a cool cast of characters, but also kind of a weird, like, a very niche, weird, but it works really well, in my opinion. And so that's just the Timberwolves in a nutshell. I think this one's a lock.
So I 100% agree. I also had this one as Timberwolves. We talked a little bit about Minnesota Wild, how it feels like you hear about them succeeding. It's like, well, it's a Minnesota team,
Mm-hmm.
hockey, that kind of makes sense. I feel like just from a little bit of an outsider's perspective, who doesn't follow closely with basketball, but when you think basketball, you immediately think like L.A. or New York. This kind of makes us the underdog, the one you don't expect to do as well. That's this movie in a nutshell. Like none of the people doing this were like they were amazed they got funded. They were amazed that it did as well as it did. Like everyone was at a loss of words here that this movie had done so good financially and again awards wise. So it kind of has become this sort of underdog that has succeeded so well that it's almost lost its underdog status going into this because everyone almost assumes it's going to win, which almost makes me worry that it's not going to win,
Oh,
which I'd be disappointed with because it was my favorite movie of the year last year. So that's kind of where I put it at for Timberwolves. So
yeah, that does kind of create that bridge between where it's we have I like at this point I'm like the Wolves should be back in the Western Conference Finals. Like they just were there 2 years in a row. But then you have this deep worry that it's just like maybe this is just like we were ahead of ourselves a little bit more. Like who knows? But like I love this movie and I think the Wolves would be a good fit for this. And you described it perfectly there. Yeah. Anything else to add to that?
I really hope Sinners wins.
I really hope the Wolves win too. So
I'm trying to manifest it right now.
yeah, yeah. All right. Next one here.
Next one is Sentimental Value.
Okay.
This was one of two international films that made it into the Best Picture list here. This one is about basically two sisters are dealing with the death of their mother. And while they're dealing with that, basically their father, who had abandoned them years ago, is coming back to the picture. It's kind of like, okay, does he actually want to reconnect with them? But then you find out, well, he's a filmmaker, and now he's trying to convince them to be part of his movie to like that was about like grieving and all that sort of stuff too. So it's like, okay, is he actually trying to reconnect or is he just using them? There's a lot of mistrust there, and there's a lot of just grief in general, I feel like. So I believe this one came out of Norway, but it did have, I believe, a few like recognizable actors in it as well. So
Hmm. Okay. When I think of this, I instantly think of a movie Is this kind of like a middle of the road one? Like
Yeah, this is so. Yeah, every year there's usually at least one international film that does make the top 10, or at least as far as Best Picture nominees. And very rarely do you take it seriously thinking it's going to win. I think Parasite. Parasite was
sure.
like the one that actually won international film and won Best Picture as well.
Hmm.
You very rarely take these very seriously, mainly because just not as many people have seen them.
Mm.
So I think that hurts its voting status as well, or maybe not so much this year, because I think finally this year it was actually required for the Oscar nominees to actually watch all, or the Oscar voters to actually watch all the films,
Oh, wait,
which I always thought
they
was
have
just
it.
the rule.
Oh wait, they have it.
Apparently, that was something they just enacted like this year, which like everyone was kind of like, we just all assumed that was that had to be a thing, right?
Wow.
None of us, I guess, were checking in on that, but yeah. So I consider this one a little bit more middle of the road.
Oh, do critics rave about this at all, or not rave? I guess do they respect this movie? Is this like a pretty respected movie though?
Yeah, from what I've seen, what I've heard, yeah, it was reviewed fairly well, and like I said, it even though it is an international film, like I said, there are a few recognizable names here. Ellie Fanning, one of the Fanning
Oh,
sisters,
sure.
she's in this. Stellan Skarsgård, you've seen him in Marvel,
Okay. Yep.
so it is the more popular of the international films, if
Sure.
if that gives any context, but.
Okay. So this instantly, I go to Loons just because I feel like there's a lot of international interest for the Loons in general, and but also Sneaky Good. Um, and so it's kind of one of those niche but respected, but very could be overlooked because in just even the soccer world, Minnesota's pretty overlooked because um, we play we play outside in Minnesota in the middle of the winter slash early spring in the second winter, and so that's not
Although
really
I
a
think that would make the game more interesting.
it
You
really
know,
should.
talk about home field advantage. If we had to play soccer in the snow, like we'd crush any team, I
I
feel
know that's what
like.
I'm saying. We need one snow. We just need like a down, like an absolute blizzard that happens in one of the
Yeah.
Looney teams, and that'd be fun. Kind of Norway
Yeah.
vibes, Loons. I don't know, a little bit. Northern Lights. We have Northern Lights jerseys. I feel like that happens in Norway. I'm reaching really, but this just seems like a good fit for the Loons.
Yeah, no, I'm in the same boat there too, just because again, I mean, yes, it is a Minnesota sports team or soccer team, but when you think soccer or European football, you do think international that is kind of competing in an American market, so to speak. So yeah, that's kind of where my head went as well.
Okay. Okay, I think we have a couple. Do we have a couple left? I think. And we had,
We have two more,
okay.
four if you count the two that you kind of wanted to
Sure.
hold off till later. But the ninth one here, The Secret Agent. This is the other international film movie set in 1977 Brazil. A former professor flees to his childhood home to escape the conflict going on, only to find out conflict follows him wherever he goes. So yeah, not getting too much detail into this one. Also, I haven't seen this one as well, but yeah, it's very rare that we do see two international films get in
Hmm.
the Best Picture category here, which again, to answer the question you've kind of been asking with all these, I don't see this one winning Best Picture. But the interesting conversation is, well, okay, which one of these two is going to win Best International Feature?
Hmm.
Because there's really not a front runner between this and Sentimental Value, believe it or not. It depends on who you ask. It's kind of back and forth between those two, really.
Hmm. Huh. Interesting. Maybe we just have to pencil both of these in for the Loons.
Yeah, that's kind of where I had it at as
Yeah.
well.
Are they similar
This
vibe movies?
one I think is a little bit more of a historical piece. I can't remember if The Secret Agent is actually based off of real life events or things that were going on at the time.
Hmm.
Where Sentimental Value, I believe, is a little bit more original.
Hmm.
So that kind of separates them a little bit as well.
Hmm. Yeah, I go there. When you're describing it, I also was kind of just like, for some reason, it was just calling me back to. It was calling me to like the Lynx for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know why.
Hey man, gotta go with your heart sometimes.
Yeah, we're gonna stick with the Loons. We're gonna stick with the Loons.
Sure.
Just
Yeah,
seems
that
seems
was
like
another one where it's just like, okay, yeah, international films I kind of immediately put there. similar with Begonia and Hammond. I kind of put them with the women's teams just because they're a little bit more women-led cast there. So
We'll lock in Loons. We'll lock in Loons.
yeah.
Feels right. All right, next,
Uh,
your
yeah.
last
Last
one.
one is Train Dreams. This one's set in Idaho in the early 20th century with a man dealing with the loss of his wife and daughter. Works a quiet life in the forest, just trying to live a normal life, but may get run over by modernization at the time. I believe the railroad was kind of coming
Mm,
through that area. This was a huge part of obviously early 20th century United States history was, the expansion out west, the expansion of the railroad, all that sort of stuff here too.
sure.
So I kind of took this movie as sort of like you know, whenever there's advancement, do you fight against it? Do you let it, do you hitch your ride onto it, whatever, or do you let it run you over, sort of thing? That was kind of my interpretation of it. So
Hmm. Gosh, I feel like this is just twins.
I can't explain why, but I have it in the same slot, mainly because this was one of the, I feel like this has the least chance of winning.
There you
Um,
go.
and nothing against the movie. These are all great movies, but like I just feel like there wasn't any buzz with this one, despite the fact that it did get 5 nominations. So it is actually it's better than most, I feel like, but I don't know. I just feel like this one has the least chance of winning Best Picture.
Sure. Which one was
Oh,
the
that's not true.
cheapest movie out of them?
I don't know off the top of my head, but I would not be surprised if it's Train Dreams because it was a smaller cast as well.
Let me look it up really quickly because that would just be a nail in the
What
coffin in
is-
this. Okay, found it. Secret Agent is the cheapest.
Oh wow, really?
Um, with 5 million. Sentimental Value was then 7.8 million. But that matches up with the Loons probably are the cheapest franchise. Like they're the small, like their league between them.
Yeah, because
Yeah, between them, the Frost and the Lynx, they're probably the lowest budgets. And so that kind
yeah,
of makes sense. So Train Dreams would, but Train Dreams seems like the way you describe it and the way I've seen like previews for it, it feels like very um lower lower budget for it's the
yeah,
lowest of the American films
yeah.
in this. So
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Train Dreams was the hardest one for me to put because I didn't want to put any of these for twins because the whole narrative I feel around the twins is the anger and how screwed up everything is and everything like that. And that just isn't any of these movies. They're best picture for a reason.
yeah, yeah,
They're the best of the best. So I kind of just put this one because I felt like it had the least amount of chance to win here, I feel like. But
yeah, yeah. That's great. That's a great call there. I think going back to the Frankenstein, I'm almost like wanting to just put it with the twins as well, just because of the fact that it, like just the storyline of it. Like I get stuck. I get stuck on like the historically.
yeah,
That's one of the better teams that we've had. If you in like the sense of back in our actual history, like early history of sports in Minnesota, historically probably the most like memorable of all the teams. The Vikings probably right up there, but
I think you could say that about any well, a majority of baseball teams with
yeah.
any state. I feel like so. I think that holds water. But
But it's also an older story, so it's like they're running
yeah,
back an older story that and they just haven't really yeah, that seems like a fit. I would say Train Dreams and Frankenstein. Do you are you good with that?
yeah, I think that works there. I almost I kind of considered Frankenstein for
Me
Vikings
too, but
only because when you think of Frankenstein's monster, there's a lot of bits and pieces to it, and some of them work and some of them don't. It feels like that's kind of the Vikings right now, where it's like, okay, we have some right pieces,
mm-hmm.
we have some wrong pieces. We just got to stick the right body parts here. And also, the doctor sucked, and apparently we kicked out our GM and all that sort of stuff. So I'm calling our general manager essentially Dr. Frankenstein in this case. I don't know if that
Oh,
really works with the metaphor and everything, but
but that actually works really good for the twins because Frankenstein is kind of
yeah, actually,
considered like
yeah.
the owners of the twins. I mean, like the Polads or kind of like
Actually, yeah, I didn't even think of that. So
that's
yeah,
like
Frankenstein actually probably does work better for twins.
yeah.
Or it's
Oh,
like we got the pieces.
yeah.
We just need the right person to help put it together here right
And we have
now.
a mad scientist who is trying to.
I've got a mad scientist who needs to be run out of town with torches and
Yeah,
pitchforks,
basically that's what's
and
happening
not
in
metaphorical.
the.
Yeah,
I can't believe we didn't land into that until the 50th minute we were
yeah,
talking.
yeah. No,
That's
I was
hilarious.
very much overthinking that one for Vikings when the perfect metaphor was right there in front of me with the Twins.
Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna get. There's definitely ghosts. This is like one of the podcasts I listen to. Like they talk about the Ringer Fantasy Football Show. They talk about the closest you could feel to feeling like a ghost is listening to a podcast, and you like know the answer to something, and the two people talking are just like being like, "Oh, I don't really know." Like, comment
Yeah,
below what you think. You're
yeah.
like, "It's obvious." Like,
It's
yeah,
like the same way with like if you watch like trivia shows or something
yeah.
like that, and they like can't get the answer. It's like it's three, you
You're
idiot.
screaming. Yeah, you're like, "No!" You're like Interstellar. Yeah.
Yeah, it's don't leave me, leave, burn.
Gosh, I love that movie. Anyways, then we have go back to one battle. I kind of locked into Vikings just because I like. I also think too, just the title "One Battle After Another." It just feels like life as a Vikings fan. I don't know anything about the movie, but like constantly one battle after another
You win
is
some, you lose some.
yeah, yeah. And we just kind of always hold on to guys a little bit, maybe too long past their prime, but they're just like staples in the Vikings lore that we just love,
Yeah,
and so that's part of the cast in that movie. But I don't know. I feel really good about this list this match list we put together.
yeah, that's a good one. I only put one battle after another for Wild just because of the same reasons for Marty Supreme. It
Yeah.
just looks familiar, feels familiar. You got Leo, got Paul Thomas Anderson directing. Yeah, they're gonna make an Oscar nominated movie. That's just how it's gonna go. So, but yeah, I wasn't like married to that one, but yeah.
Which movie did you like? What have you haven't seen those two? Which one do you think you'd like more, Marty Supreme or One Battle After Another?
Um, Probably one battle,
Okay.
just because I always have a little disdain towards based on true story, just because there's always stuff they change, and I don't like that when you're dealing with a real life person in the real life.
Hmm.
I guess I don't know. I can go on a whole rant on that one, but
Sure.
the short answer is more one battle after another.
Sure. Okay. That's okay. That seems to fit our vibe that we got going on here. So to recap, unless we have any ones we want to be passionate about changing any of them.
No,
Okay.
I think I like where we're at.
So to recap, we have Wolves as sinners, Vikings, F1, and One Battle After Another, Twins, Train Dreams, and Frankenstein, The Wild, Marty Supreme, Frost, Hamnet, The Loons, Sentimental Value, and Secret Agent, and then Lynx, Begonia. There.
Every time you say Frankenstein with the twins, that makes more and more sense to me. Every time you say that out loud,
I can't believe it. I'm
like
glad we came back to that one
more
because,
and more I hear it, I'm like, yeah, that makes total sense. I don't know why I didn't think of that.
well, there we go. So yeah, there's our Oscar nominees. Now, whoever wins this Best Picture is going to win the next championship.
Or do you think whoever, like, I guess they don't show who comes in last in these votes, but I wish they did. And then we could be like, that team connected to that team or that movie has to win the championship to like reset the balance, do you
Oh,
think?
I do like that. That actually makes more
So
sense.
like, if F1 is in last or whatever, that means Vikings win the Super Bowl next year, right?
That should
Although
be.
unfortunately we'll never know because they never show like who came in second, third, fourth, fifth, which
They
I really
should
wish they
release the
would.
ballot. Release the ballot.
Yeah, release the whole lineup.
Well, yeah. I want to give you a little second here to plug what you got coming this weekend and just in general.
Yeah, so second edition of the Oscars watch party is something like we started last year, but the Oscars challenge is something me and my co-friend has done for years now. Basically, it's real simple. We just pick which ones we pick which one we think is going to win each category. Whoever has the most at the end of it wins, and then we have to come up with a movie themed punishment or the other, and we've opened it up to people to just compete in. You don't have to worry about the movie punishment. You could just do it for fun, though. You don't have to worry about us punishing anyone else. So We use they just started this last year, like ESPN Pick'em.
Hmm.
They use that for football, or at least I've used that for football. They've done it for the Oscars now, which makes it way easier for us. So I didn't have to build one from scratch like I thought I was going to have to do last year. But yeah, the actual watch party itself, we're going to start live streaming, I believe, 5:45, just shortly before the actual ceremony starts. That'll be that Sunday, March 15th, over on our Facebook page, Omni Entertainment. That's the production company we've created for this. And yeah, we're not just going to be watching the show. We're going to have guest stars on. We're going to talk to some people. We're going to do some fun stuff. I think Ryan last year came up with some trivia questions, so hopefully he's going to do that again as well. It's a little over a 4-hour show, at least it was last year, but it felt like it went by really fast, and it was a lot of fun. And we're more than looking forward to doing it again this year. Like as soon as we were done last year, I was like, I want to jump to next year. I want to do this again,
Hmm.
like right away. Fortunately, the Oscars only happen once a year here, but yeah. So make sure you check that out. Again, Omni Entertainment on Facebook. We'll be live streaming March 15th at 5:45.
Awesome stuff. Yeah, I'll link that down below. This is like your guys' Super Bowl, and
Yeah,
I was
exactly.
lucky to be a part of it last year, and I had a lot of fun. And
Yep.
I'm gonna show up at some point on the show
Yeah,
this
we'll
year.
have you on again. We'll have you on again this year as well. So it'll be a lot of fun for sure.
Yeah, it'll be a good time. I'm excited, and I'm gonna put the can I put the ESPN bracket thing down at the bottom
Yes,
too?
yes.
Let's.
I'll send you that too, and yeah, we're gonna start getting that out to people and everything like that. If you're worried like you don't know or you haven't seen any of the movies, you don't feel like you want to do it, just guess your best.
Mhm.
Sometimes that is honestly the easiest way to do it. Like I keep giving my mom flack because she ended up like in third, and she hasn't seen any of the
I think I
movies.
remember that last year.
At one point, I think she almost passed me or something. She was getting close to passing both me and Ryan. I was like, "This, nope, we're gonna cancel this. We're gonna cancel the whole show if she beats us in this right now." But sometimes it's just fun to kind of guess and see where you end up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and you like kind of reveal some of the results live too, like as for the
yeah, and
challenges you go on the live.
I think this year we're also gonna try and have sort of a live scoreboard on screen as well.
Oh, that's fun.
We're gonna try. I don't know if it'll have everyone on there, but we're gonna at least try to get like the top 5 at all times
That seems right.
on there as well. So yeah, we're trying some new things here this year.
I love it.
So
I love it. Well, yeah, you need to go check that out on Sunday. Have it on your screen as you're watching the Oscars. Get the
yeah,
live
yeah, do
reactions.
that
Don't even listen to the Oscars. Just listen to the show.
because we have it on screen on our screen. We have the video of it, but I think we can't have the audio on, otherwise we'd get copyright.
There.
But I think we did find out that just kind of having it like small on screen, kind of in the corner there, we were fine. We didn't have any trouble with it last year. So yeah, if you need to listen to it while watching it or whatever, but yeah, so
You rather listen. I'd rather listen to the real host. That's how I watched it last year.
yeah, there's options.
Yeah.
That's the point. There's options.
I love
So
it. Well, thank you again for coming on, and yeah, go check out Omni Entertainment, especially this Sunday for the live show and Oscars. I know there's a Popcorn Bucket List. We didn't even talk about Popcorn Bucket List, the weekly show that comes out where you break down everything you need to know about what's going on in the movie and TV world, with some
yeah, so yeah,
fun lists.
this week we'll probably do like a little bit of an Oscars preview. So if you do want a little bit of information going into it, help you out with your picks. We'll try and cover as much as we can here. But yep.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, Nick.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. It's been fun.
All right, peace. State of the States time here. I'm doing 2 weeks here, February 25th through March 8th. Just did a coaching up on Sideline Vibes channel. I broke down the Wolves' chances of trying to get to that 2 seed and where they might end up by the end of the year. Go check that out on the Sideline Vibes channel or listen to it on Spotify as well. Or do both at the same time. Have one on mute, one playing. Just keep playing it. Go on your grandma's computer and just type it in. Just have it play nonstop. That'd be great. You know. Anyways, filming this on March 9th, doing a little kind of end of February recap, and also kind of like a 2-week catch up, if you may. Let's start with the Wolves. Wolves crunch time report here. The Wolves are 40-24. They are third in the West currently, as they might be going flip-flopping back and forth between third, 3, 4, and 5 for the rest of the year. So Hold on tight, Wolves fans. 6th in the league, though, overall. Almost top 5. Last week, the Wolves went 4-1 over this 2-week span, I should say. It was Croonch's birthday week, and I like to celebrate Croonch's birthday week all at the very end of February. He kind of goes all out for his birthday. During the month of February, the Wolves went 6-4. A good streak there, a 5-game win streak here at the end of February into March, but a tough loss in this last game against the Magic. Let's go through a couple of the games here. The LA Clippers game. Now that was memorable because that was a game where it's a game winner 3 double teamed right after Finch just yelled at him to pass the ball after a missed shot, and he turns around and yells at Finch. That's what he does. And the national media kind of took it in a different direction than what we know about Ant and Finch's relationship, as those guys are as solid as can be as a foundation. Do they get after it? Yes. They get after it all the time, but they have this respect and this understanding. So those of you who are thinking this is bigger than it is, it's really not that big of a deal. So that was a huge win in LA. And then we go that weekend to Denver, get a huge road win against the Nuggets, a much needed one. Even though we didn't really play great, we won. That's a great sign, Wolves fans. Then 2 back-to-back wins against the Grizzlies and the Raptors. The Raptors game was fun for that. Another posterization dunk, as Ant is collecting his poster dunks like Infinity Stones throughout the league. He might be the first player to ever have a poster dunk against every team. The Raptors, he's done 2 iconic ones. One of them that didn't count, but this one that he had did count. I don't know why I didn't get the clip for it, but you've probably seen it a million times. I don't think I need to recap that. But after the Raptors' big win, kind of a letdown in the afternoon game against the Magic. Now, this is a bad loss, not in the sense that it was against a bad team, but it was just rough because we were right there at home game on the weekend to end a good stretch of games, and we kind of have a disappointing attitude game. I like to call those kind of or moody games. We have a handful of those throughout the year where shots aren't going in. I think a lot of the bench players, I think only 1 basket for some of the bench guys. I think between Dante, Bones, and Io. That stat might be just completely. I might have just thought of that stat randomly, but I thought I saw it somewhere. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but it was just kind of like a bad attitude game. Wolves sometimes don't have a good time against teams that are very physical. And that was a very physical game. When we have Mark Davis as the lead official, he usually allows the game, especially at this point of the year and in the playoffs, to be very physical. And that usually helps us a lot. But if we're not making shots, then it kind of turns into a moody fest, and then we feel like we're getting not very fair whistle, and then that just opens up a whole other can of worms. But I'm not too worried again about the Wolves. I think that if they can just be solid and go on maybe another couple streaks here, limit their losses, they can solidify that third seed by the end of the year. So, which would not be a good place, or not be a bad place for you to be. You can't go below the 4 seed and expect to make another huge run this postseason, as that kind of wears on you a little bit. But I don't know. This is again, I always say this is a weird team, so to expect the unexpected with the Wolves throughout the rest of this season. But the vibes are we're holding on. We're holding on. We're ready to get to the end of the season, but we're just holding on to dear life for a top 4 seed in the Western Conference. Some news: Kyle Anderson is back. I just wanted to highlight this because I haven't talked about him being back on the pod yet. I've talked about it on Coaching Up and on Sideline Vibes. Our toughness culture was kind of lacking over the last couple of years. And this Magic loss, he didn't play in. I don't know if that makes a huge difference, but I like to look at this quote here by Gobert talking about what it was like to have both him and Mike back. And he said, "I think he's a big part of what we do, and he's going to help us. He's going to help us on and off the court. I think he's a smart player. He's a tough player. He's an unselfish player. He's also a winner. He's someone that really takes pride in winning. So having him back is huge. It feels good getting Mike Conley and Kyle back. Trying to win a championship and having those guys I think they're part of our culture. They're part of our DNA, so they deserve to be part of it. I think where he's kind of putting at that there is the toughness, okay? I've been saying this for a while that we need Kyle Anderson back. I thought he was a big instrumental part of our team being the 1 seed and being consistent. I think he's a very consistent player as he brings the same attitude, effort, and focus into every single game. And it's something that we have lacked this year at times for this Wolves team. And we need a rah-rah guy back. And he was huge in those earlier parts of that run that we've been on the last couple of years. And so it's good to have him back. If he plays a ton of minutes, it's going to be less minutes, less of a role, but I think it'll still be very valuable for this Wolves team. I thought it was also kind of fun that he called his grandma and said, "Hey, what should I do?" And instantly she was like, "You got to go back to the Wolves." And so, grandmas know best. So I'm glad you listened to his grandma. Okay, here's a funny clip that I thought from Crunch's birthday week about the players were asked how old they thought Crunch was turning. So
Crunch's birthday's tomorrow.
Huh?
Crunch's birthday's tomorrow.
Hey, happy birthday, Crunch.
How old do you think he's turning?
That's a weird question.
Happy birthday, my dog Crunch, man. My son loves Crunch. That's his favorite mascot. Happy birthday, my dog.
How old do you think he's turning?
334.
What do you think he is?
76.
some of these answers, I'm not really sure
Not bad, 37.
the thought process behind it, but it's just funny.
Crunch's birthday's tomorrow.
Yo, Crunch, happy birthday, yo.
How old do you think he's turning?
How old do I think he's turning? Like the actual person or
The mascot.
So very valid, very valid.
I think 45, 50, you know what I'm saying?
37.
I don't know. Maybe 65.
I think tomorrow.
Whose brother? Crunch?
Can't.
Crunch. You have a message from him?
Joyeux anniversaire, Crunch.
How old do you think he's turning?
He's turning 37. Did I get it right? Yep.
I just thought that was funny. Shout out to Crunch, an awesome mascot, one of the best. Like Kyle Anderson's son, he knows best. Also, shout out to Croonch, who is the alter ego of Crunch, where we kind of get after it on social media and on the X sphere. But yeah, some of the next games here for the Wolves. Western road trip, we have Tuesday at the LA Lakers. That's a 10 o'clock tip-off on NBC and Peacock. 10 p.m. We haven't had one of those in a while. Wednesday at the Clippers, 9:30. That'll be on FanDuel. Friday at Golden State, 9 o'clock on Prime. This is going to be a late night. If you're a Wolves fan, you got to get the coffee already brewing. Better go to the store, get some more coffee because we're gonna be staying up late this week. And then Sunday we have a nice noon matinee game here on ABC against OKC. That'll be a big one. This is a huge week, a Western Conference road trip week. We gotta take care of business. This is a business trip, if I've ever seen one. But let's go over to the Puckhead time and talk a little hockey. Starting with the Freezepeat, the Frost, 10-4-3. Third in the standings, 30 points overall. 1-1 last week since coming back from the Olympic journey, where a lot of our girls just won a gold medal. And so they came back a little bit flat-footed, I would say, with an 0-4 loss to Montreal, which is the second best team in the league, or second in the league. I think they're our biggest threat overall this year. And so of course, we have this game right after the Olympics, where we're just coming down from this huge win, very emotional win. We were outshot 33-17. And so I'm not going to take a lot from this loss, but they're definitely on my radar as probably a big. I hope we meet them later in the postseason. We can give it to them, but we came back with a huge win in overtime against Toronto. Great comeback with our leaders stepping up when they needed to, with a great overtime goal here from Heisey to Panic. Great movements. There we go. Our U.S. leaders doing real work, as being real true leaders on the ice. Good for them. I'm glad. We're still in hate us because they ain't us mode, and I think a lot of teams don't. They just don't want us to win, man. And we lead the league in goal score with 51. I think we got our juice back there. One thing that I think is really fun though on social media as the Frosts are kind of picking up some steam. And if you haven't seen this stuff yet, it's hilarious. You need to check it out. Their social media, their TikTok is as all of a sudden they've had this interest in history. Starting with the history of lighthouses in Minnesota.
From iron, like
It must be part of
refrigerator
a
stoves and
travel
kitchenware? What's that?
partnership.
You do? Then you're gonna love learning about lighthouses with us.
Before the breakthrough of radar and GPS,
It's so
on
funny because they
Great
clearly
Lakes,
just got
freighters
done
were
with like
streamlined
practice or
in the
something,
middle
and they're
of the
just
20th
reading
century.
off
Lighthouses
of a
were the main
teleprompter.
toolship captains used to steer
It's so
clear
good.
of
I
deadly
did actually
shoals
watch
and
this. It was
rocky
very
coastlines.
interesting. Some very interesting stuff there. I'm not gonna play the whole video, but you need to go check it out. Go check it out. They're doing a great job on the Frost social. Whether you're on TikTok or Instagram, you'll find them. It's just funny. It's some of the players feel like they're like being held hostage, like having to read this off. They're like, "What are we doing? What is this for?" So whoever is in the PR team is just obsessed with history right now. I don't know. Shout out to them though. They're killing it. I think more teams should start doing stuff like this. It's hilarious. And maybe I'm a little bit biased as a history teacher. So, yeah, it's pretty fun. Next games here for the Frost. We have a Friday game versus the Seattle Torrent. Hillary Knight matchup against some of her Team USA counterparts on the Frost. And then we have a Sunday duel with the New York Sirens. That is technically a home game for us, even though it's one of the games where the travel games, the takeover games, and we're going to be in Denver for that matchup. So you can check that game out on FanDuel. The other game's on one of the streaming services, TSN. Yeah, it's not going to be available. Which is, I think they want teams to or fans to go to the arena, and so that's why probably that Friday game's not televised. Now let's get wild here. Some wild 37, 16, and 11. Third in the Central Division. Third in the West. 85 points. Fourth overall. We are behind Colorado. Number 1, Colorado, and number 2, Dallas, which is just kind of a killer. Of course, when we're having one of our best seasons in the history of the Wild, we're behind. The two teams that we're behind are in our Central Division. They really need to rethink how they're doing the playoffs in the NHL, but that's a conversation for a different day. Over this last stretch, the Wild are 2-2-1 with a huge win against the Colorado Avalanche, 5-2, coming off of the Olympic break. We brought some of that gold medal energy, and they left it all on the ice. Even Gus Bus left it all on the ice as he pukes in a crease.
Steps
Yep.
in after Gustafsson,
And just skates off.
And you can see the big turn of events here. Wallstat steps in after.
What a legendary scene there. Wallstead steps in, closes the door. Big win for us. But then we go right to Utah and lose a tough loss to the Mammoth, 2-5. And then back-to-back losses between Utah and the Blues, which put us back. We were kind of on a high right there at that point, coming down to earth a little bit. We needed a win, and we got a win against the Lightning. One thing to note in this is the Kirill Kaprizov became the Wild's all-time leading goal scorer, which is kind of crazy. He's done it in a very short amount of time. His approach to being asked about it afterwards was also hilarious because it was kind of like Jokic, like something with the eastern part of Europe and achievements that aren't championships, and just being like, I don't really care. He did say he cared, but he was more like, it just wasn't that impressive to him. It didn't seem like that many goals. And so it was just kind of funny that he was just like, cool. Oh, I won. Awesome. I think they were playing a video while they were warming up before the game to kind of test out. And it was like a video message from Marian Gaborik just in case he broke that record that night. kind of congratulating Krill, and he's just like, "Who is that for?" Like his teammates are like, "What are you talking about, dude? It's for you." But anyways, Krill, all-time leading goal scorer. Shout out to him. This led to another win against Vegas in a shootout the following night, and then an overtime loss in shootout against Colorado. So 2-2-1 over this stretch. Now some news here is the trade deadline just wrapped up, and the Wild made a ton of moves as they are making this clear that they are pushing for the Stanley Cup this year, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. We added veteran leadership with Nick Foligno, brother of Marcus Foligno. We added Bobby Brink, Michael McCarron to help with defense and face-off strength, and then Jeff Petrie strengthening out the defensive unit. Robbie Fabre, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, honestly. And a little speedster. And then they just prioritized the depth, okay? Adding, it was a perfect combination of enhancing the roster and adding depth without kind of crippling our future, because we want to extend this window that we have, as we have what seems to be kind of like a 3 to 4 year potential window, maybe even further. And the key was we just wanted to add parts that are going to help us with the two things that we are having a hard time with, and that's face-offs and penalty killing. And I feel like the guys that we added is going to at least add a little bit of depth and some pieces. Kind of a perfect, I would say, trade deadline for if you're a GM of trying to, like Billy G. Billy G was cooking here, as we didn't give up a lot to get these guys, and all it's going to do is add, if anything, add a little bit. And if it doesn't, then we tried something, and that's what you want from your GM and from your ownership. And the Wild are moving in a great direction. If you're a Wild fan, this is like the most excited you can ever be at this point. So don't be pessimistic, Wild fans. This is not the time to be like, we're just going to choke it away. Just stop with that, because the players, I swear, the players would feel that pressure already. You don't need to add on to that pressure, okay? Let's delete the past. Let's focus on the present. We can win it this year, okay? It's possible. Just as possible as it's been in other years. You have to believe. You got to move on from the past, and don't say that we are going to choke it away, because that pressure, these guys are online. Maybe not Krill, but they do see that stuff, and it adds to the pressure that's already there, and it's more likely for that to happen. So just stop doing it. We're changing the narrative, people. Anyways, we have a homestand here for the Wild. Tuesday versus the Mammoth. That's going to be 7 o'clock on Hulu. If you have Hulu, you just check it out. Go check it out. Thursday versus the Flyers on FanDuel. Saturday versus the Rangers at 5 on FanDuel. And then the matinee Sunday game against the Maple Leafs. Austin Matthews coming to town versus the U.S. Wild Boys. 6:30 on TNT, HBO Max, True TV. Yeah. So a loaded week as they're trying to catch up on those games that were missed for that stretch during the the Olympic break. And so there's going to be a lot of games and a lot in this short amount of time. So buckle up, Wild fans. This is going to be a fun run. Let's get to a little Wonderball action here. Now, we have been gone for a little bit, so I got to sound the loon because we won a game. Woo! There we go. Loons 1-1-1 on the year. 1-1 in the last week as we had a 1-0 win against FC Cincinnati. A lot of ones there, but Yaboa's alive. He's got 2 goals in the year so far. He had 9 all of last season. So this pace that he's on so far this season has him just smashing that 9-goal total last year. And that's what you want from your striker early on in the season. And then we had a tough loss against Nashville where we let up a lot of early goals and had to fight our way back. But one thing that was fun was this goal here by Triantis. And what was even more fun was the commentary from Coach Cameron Knowles on this goal.
Yeah, I mean, he's shown a real knack for scoring from distance, that's for sure. And it's an absolute screamer. It's difficult to come in.
An absolute screamer.
Like he did mid-season last year and make an impact, and he had a significant impact. And he's having a bigger role this year, and he's always hungry for more. So I'm really pleased for him that he got that reward.
Yeah, if you haven't watched the Loons yet last year, Trant is an absolutely electric player for the Loons. And he likes to let it rip. And so you see a lot of goals like that, which could be huge for us. Could be huge. We needed some offensive firepower to be added to this team. So I like what we've seen so far. I like the balanced approach to this Loon season so far. The big question always is going to be, when is Hamas going to play? I'm just guessing it's going to be as he's getting up to shape here, getting up to form, as they like to say. It's going to be a little bit while, but I think the fans are really excited to see him play, whether it's just a little role or a large role. Just seeing him play in action it's just cool to have a guy like this on this team. Some cool stuff that I saw over here on the Reddit sphere. I saw Minnesota United's The Rebel Loon Project worked with fans of the Minnesota Loons to embrace the Rebel Loon logo to help our community who's been affected by ICE. Part of that is rebranding our own jerseys by getting rid of the Target logo and adding the Rebel Loon logo, as you can see here, onto the front of their jerseys. They did countless efforts to do this. They had a lot of volunteers helping out. All the proceeds go to groups that are helping with that. And a lot of those proceeds going to the Immigrant Law Center in Minnesota, where and they were able to help out with a lot of things. And so awesome project they got going on there. So if you're in the metro area or outstate and you have a Loons jersey that you would like to show your support and also get a custom rebrand for, you can find one of their events and see if you can have that happen. But awesome things that are a fun way to, one, kind of stick it to the man, and two, support your friends and family that might be in need. Awesome work, Loons fans. So next game here for the Loons is going to be a tough one against early season league favorite Vancouver Whitecaps. This will be 3:30 on Apple TV. You can watch every single Loons game on Apple TV, which is pretty fun this year if you have that. If you don't, consider getting it. Apple TV's got a lot of cool options. Not a sponsor, but I do enjoy what they got cooking on over there. I'm not even an Apple guy, but they got some good stuff. Okay, off-season vibes. We have the Bare Necessities, the Twins, spring training mode right now, and we're also focused on that World Baseball Classic. The United States is 2-0 right now in their pool play. They have Mexico tonight. So I don't know the results of what this is going to be as I'm editing this, probably as the results already happened. I'm filming this before the game. But it's been fun to see Buxton in the lineup. One RBI so far, hasn't got a hit per se, but has a 0 average, but he's contributing to winning, and he's been playing in the center field where he belongs and representing our country, which is great. Opening day again, coming up March 26th there. Lynx, Prowls, Peace. CBA update. Now, tomorrow on Tuesday, again, this video is probably not going to come out until before this gets wrapped up. So tomorrow's a big day. The 10th is a huge day, and both of them have sent counter, both the WNBPA and the WNBA exchange counter proposals over the weekend. This is leading up to this Tuesday, March 10th deadline, on whether they have to push things back, and there might be some sort of postponement to the season as they need to figure out a timeline for this, an agreement first. But I'm in the camp of I don't think it's going to really happen. Part of me feels that way because of what the WNBPA sent out. They said, in every CBA negotiation, the goal of the league and the teams is to divide the players. These negotiations are no different. We remain united and focused on delivering on delivering a transformational CBA for all members of this union and are committed to negotiating for as long as it takes. That doesn't feel like somebody or a group that's ready to settle. And that's okay. That's what they need to be doing. That's their job. And then in a survey, they kind of released some of the surveys. 84% say, no, I would not accept 15%, and want the union to keep negotiating. So that's a pretty solid number to say that if the league's not going to budge, the players are definitely not going to budge. And so this could push the season back a little bit. I'm all for it. I'm always for the players, supporting the players, and they're the thing that makes the league go. They're not asking to be paid the same amount, an unrealistic amount. They're asking to be paid the same percentages, but the surrounding leagues are being paid, and that seems fair. And if you don't think that's fair, don't be weird. You're being weird. That's just my opinion, I guess. Some cool stuff. The Mist became champs. It was fun to see Lana Smith, Lynx player, celebrate. She celebrated the way that a lot of Aussies would. I would love to show a clip, but you can look it up for your own. Just say Lana Smith celebrating Lynx win, or not Lynx win. I wish Mist win, and she does it in the most Aussie way possible, and it was really fun to see her have a great season. And if the WNBA is going to push back, please, Stewart, Collier, let's just do a 5-on-5 Unrivaled. I love the theme of it. It'd be fun if they did like a redraft of all the teams, and they just it'd be really fun if they like kind of leaned into it. If the WNBA is going to maybe expand it even, so you can have more players that are probably going to be out for the WNBA if they can't get to an agreement there. I'm seeing that it's going pretty well for them, and so I don't know. That would definitely be an ultimate bargaining chip if they laid that out there. So maybe they're having that in their back pocket. It wouldn't surprise me. I wouldn't put anything past them, as they've done a great job and they're very smart with how they've been negotiating this. Okay, last we'll talk Minnesota Vikings here. Free agency started today, and the Vikings signed cornerback James Pierre. He played for the Steelers. He played under Brian Flores before, and we signed him to a 2-year, $8.5 million deal total. So he's kind of going to be in that cornerback number 3, number 2 potentially. Just adding to that cornerback depth, which is nice with having a guy who's played already under Flores. We re-signed Eric Wilson as of right now, 3 years, $22.5 million total. He had a great year last year. Kind of puts him in that range around a 25th linebacker, and I think he's kind of the pulse of our team in a lot of ways last year, and he brought the vibes, and I think he fits in well with the Flores scheme. We brought back Redmond, we brought back Pace on 1-year buffer deals, and then the one big loss this week. The one big loss we had in free agency so far is losing Naylor to the Raiders, and so the wide receiver 3 market is definitely open for the Vikings, looking to fill that spot with whether it's a draft pick or someone in the free agency. But this is where I'm at as of right now when I'm filming. I haven't even looked and see if there's any updates. We'll update you next week if there's a big signing or a big trade that happens. But overall, we're just restructuring the vibe of the team. It seems like a lot of restructuring talk as we're trying to reload here and make another push at competing this year. I guess the big question for the entire rest of the offseason is, what direction is this team looking to go in? There's been a lot of back and forth on social media the last couple of weeks of, is this ownership group deciding, man, we spent the most amount of money in the league last year. I think we need to cut a ton of costs and kind of maybe reset a little bit. But there's also, with how the signings have been going so far, I don't know if they're looking at resetting. They're looking to kind of just restructure. That's just my thought process and what I've seen so far. But there's a lot of back and forth going there, and it all stems from the fact that this Jonathan Grenard situation where he's wanting to be paid what he thinks he should be paid, and the Vikings haven't shelled it out yet to him. And they've opened the trade talks up for him, and that just kind of, whenever a team is doing something like that, it really makes you question, okay, what direction do you think that they're trying to go in? Maybe they have some inside information that they feel like they don't feel comfortable that giving him what he thinks he should be paid. There's a lot of what ifs in this situation. I'm always a big person who's like, yeah, it's interesting, but I want to see it all play out first. And if they decide to go with him and extend him and give him what he should be paid, what he thinks he should be paid, then, and they do that, then it's like, okay, well, they obviously had good intel for that decision. So he's clearly a good fit for the Vikings team. It's just more about like, how much do they want to invest in that, if that makes sense. If they move on from him, then they must have saw something that that they didn't like. And so you got to kind of, I think the Vikings have done enough. Obviously now with Kwesi out, there's a lot of unknown. And so historically we've had a good track record of under Wolf of them being willing to spend a ton of money. So I'm not too worried about them being in a situation where it's like, are they getting cheap on us? I don't think they're getting cheap, but it's just, there's just a lot of dialogue going on with that right now. So just let it play out. Just let it play out. Let's see all the moves, and then we'll be able to assess it from there. Vibe of the week here. I guess I'm a little bit more on the emotional side this week. We just wrapped up our basketball season, and I always get so sad after basketball season's done, especially you get to work with a group of kids, especially like seniors, and you know that's your last time they get to work with them. You're obviously going to be able to communicate and talk with them, and they come back and whatnot, but it's never the same from that point on. It's just fun to see them grow over the 4 years, and then it's sad when it's all over. And I also just get sad because I love coaching basketball. I love the game of basketball. I love being a part of it. So it feels like I have a hard time transitioning out of that. But then I get reminded of all the cool things that come from coaching and come from the game of basketball. And one of the cool things I saw was from the Timberwolves this last week, where Brandon, he lives with a C5 spinal cord injury, but he got to live out his dream of meeting Anthony Edwards. Just an awesome picture there. I love that the Wolves, they seem to do a lot of community things like this. I've never seen Finchy so happy. That smile gets you every time. He got to spend the day with the team. Got some A ones, or two, it looked like, actually customized ones, and then an Ant jersey. And then, of course, got a video here. And just let me play the video.
Basketball players, right? You see him on TV, right? Same thing. We got Brandon joining us today. He's from McDonough, Georgia. First Timberwolves game in Minnesota. Huge Timberwolves fan. So make sure you say hi to him. He'll be in the game today. You all right? Yeah, I play against McDonough, Georgia. You seen me play freestyle? Okay. I played in McDonough, Georgia, though, growing up. Yeah, football. We'll do football. Oh, you played against freestyle. Yeah. What up, bro? Cooper? Yeah. Appropriate. Wolves on three. Wolves up. Have fun.
So they had the Georgia connection there too, which is fun. I think he's honestly a Wolves fan because of Ant, and just an awesome story. He was able to, he got the game. This is the game Ant went off against the Raptors. Ended up getting the game shoes and after the game, and you just love stuff like this because it just really puts things into perspective. Especially, I'm sure for Ant and these athletes, they don't, every day you're so focused on your craft and you don't realize like the impact that you make. Now, like, I'm not trying to connect this situation with my coaching in high school, but just talking to the kids after the game, you realize the impact that you have on them. and the things that you do, the things that you say, and how you say it, and what you do in your life is super important. And a lot of the youth they're sponges to that, and so I think it's awesome to kind of look back and reflect on those moments. And it's cool that the Wolves put a lot of emphasis on that, and then a lot of our Minnesota organizations do a great job of that, and a lot of organizations in general do a great job of that. But that's the stuff that's all about. That's what it's all about. And at the end of the day, these games are just ways to motivate us to be the best that we can be, win or loss. It's all about just trying to be the best that you could be. And so, but yeah, I'll leave it at that. Again, please go check out Omni Entertainment. Check out Popcorn Bucket List. Check out the live show this Sunday for the Oscars. I promise you, it'll be a lot of fun. If you're a movie stan and you love the Oscars or just award shows in general, they do a great job breaking it down live as it's happening and giving you some good insight into a lot of things that are in the movie and TV world. Go check them out. But yeah, let's have a great week. Remember, don't let your teams control your vibes. Okay, keep them high. Weather's getting nice. Come on. We're about to the peak of the wolf season, the wild season, the frost season. Twins are about to start. Come on, keep those vibes high. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.